Hi, I'm Gail Jacobs. I'm part of the political risk team within Marsh Specialty. I'm here to share an update on Latin America and the crucial 18 months ahead. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to have widespread political, economic, and social effects on Latin America. In 2020, the region faced the sharpest GDP slump in the world of -7%. The effects of the pandemic, several years of falling commodity prices, and endemic weaknesses that were debilitating the real economy have damaged the social fabric and are now diminishing the region's potential. The gap between Latin American economies and the emerging markets as a whole widened dramatically in 2020 and is projected to expand further in 2021 and 2022, threatening social and political spaces. To give an idea of the extent of lost GDP in the region for 2020, if the accumulated size of the lost GDP was a nation, that nation would be the equivalent of the third largest economy in Latin America, after Brazil and Mexico. This represents a vast reduction in tax revenue and wealth destruction across the region, most heavily impacting those that can least afford it. 4 out of 6 sovereign defaults worldwide occurred in Latin America, in Argentina, Belize, Ecuador, and Suriname. Many governments are quickly, and in some cases impulsively, implementing fiscal and monetary policies in an attempt to fuel a recovery. Elections in the first half of 2021 have showed increased polarization in Ecuador, Peru, and Mexico. And in the next 18 months, consultations are due in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Nicaragua, and Honduras. All these countries are likely to face long election campaigns, together with the prolonged effects of the pandemic. The pandemic hit Latin America with full force when the region was already vulnerable following a decade of low growth and declining real living standards. Social protests started in Chile in October of 2019 and shook several Andean nations. The common themes were demands for better public services, greater equality of opportunity, and solutions to escalating environmental crises such as water scarcity. With already damaged health systems and government finances under severe pressure, many countries in the region face serious fiscal challenges to fulfill these demands. The region is a significant exporter of raw materials, but is a net energy importer. A global rebound in commodity prices should give respite to Latin American resource-based economies in 2021, thanks to demand from China. However, the full picture is more complicated. Those countries that turn to China for financing may enhance the risk of failure to improve fiscal discipline and implement desirable environmental, social, and governance targets. Governance deficiencies have exacerbated endemic weaknesses as the mishandling of the pandemic triggered mistrust and social discontent. A region that hosts 8% of the global population suffered about 30% of COVID-19 related deaths in 2020. Accusations of nepotism and the distribution of vaccines caused political turmoil in several countries, including Ecuador, Peru, and Argentina. These accusations have prompted large protests and forced government resignations and reshufflings. Since the pandemic began, Brazil has had 4 different health ministers. In this context, the inadequacy of main institutions, a reported crony welfare system, and uneven access to health services might unleash or increase public discontent, triggering social unrest. The fallout from the COVID-19 crisis is expected to worsen basic inequalities and act as a catalyst for further unrest. With already above average ratings for political violence, Latin America is in a delicate position. Grassroots pressures, which are 50% more probable and impactful than the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development average, may lead to a rise in nationalism and impact strategic resources, increasing the risk of foreign-owned resource assets being targeted for contractual renegotiation or seizure. Lack of coordination may hinder an already delicate recovery. The risk, increasing daily, is that the world's largest economies emerge from the COVID-19 crisis much earlier than Latin America, withdrawing the economic stimuli long before the region catches up. Prospects are worrying and may result in a return to 2019 levels only after 2023. The global rebound in commodity prices, from corn to copper, mostly driven by insufficient or discontinuous supply, is likely to fuel inflation, which remains one of the region's biggest challenges. A deterioration of financing conditions is also hindering the sustainability of sovereign and corporate debt, leading to spending cuts and reduction of subsidies, which in turn may ignite further confrontations. Popular consultations and appeals to local courts are becoming more frequent. The Amazon forest and biodiversity are increasingly attracting the attention of civil society globally. Several mining operations, as well as infrastructure projects, have faced protests from local communities and nonprofit organizations over their impact on biodiversity-rich areas, adding to corruption risks and contract reviews. The mishandling of grassroots protests and their business implications can create flashpoints for international investors, as well as resorting to local consultations to appease the electorate, and might lead to costly renegotiations. A growing activism trend is possible across Latin America, with Mexico, Argentina, Peru, Guatemala, and Bolivia as the most likely candidates to follow the consultation path. In February 2021, alongside the presidential and legislative elections in Ecuador, 81% of the voters in the city of Cuenca backed a ban on large and medium-scale mining projects. A similar nationwide consultation was held in 2018 to reduce the footprint of the permitted oil extraction area near the Yasuní National Park. In Mexico, the government has altered via renegotiations or canceled directly and via referendum gas pipeline, mining, and infrastructure contracts. Referenda have been used to determine the viability of government-endorsed railway and refining projects and the Huesca thermoelectric project, as well as the cancellation of the Los Cardones mining project in Baja California Sur, the Metrobus contract in Durango, and a brewery in Baja California. Specific projects at risk in a 12-month outlook include a copper mine, a private power plant, and a fertilizer plant. Popular consultations in Colombia showcase a categorical rejection of extractive operations. The Constitutional Court has ruled out the possibility for local authorities to block projects directly or as a result of community referendums. However, in practice, a legal framework deemed more favorable does not entirely deter state or local actors from reversing their decisions. As of July 2021, 13 multinationals have arbitration cases pending against the Colombian state. Brazil and Chile would need to reform their constitutions to incorporate this mechanism, but more legislation surrounding commodities and tax rises are already impinging on the mining sector in Chile. The Chilean Congress is examining several opposition-led bills that include additional royalties on copper sales as prices rise to pay for social programs to address the pandemic, and a limit on mine operations near glaciers that might put at risk 40% of related output. The royalty bill stokes political risk in the world's top producing region, with higher taxes for miners also proposed in Peru, the world's second largest producer. In 2021, the number of requests received by Marsh Specialty from clients and prospects for cover in the Latin American region has increased. Inquiries during the first 6 months of the year were equivalent to 78% of the full year in 2020. Surety, political risk, and credit insurance products are available to meet risk management needs in many scenarios. Often, such protection is critical in enabling investment projects to proceed. Insurance-backed political risk and credit solutions can help secure trade and investment capital, unlock liquidity, and enable growth that will fuel and sustain the recovery from COVID-19. For more information, please contact us at creditspecialties@marsh.com for a confidential discussion.